US intelligence says Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman probably approved the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The Biden administration has released a report written at the time of the killing in 2018, but never made it public. The Crown Prince has always denied any involvement, and the Saudi government has rejected the assessment. The US has imposed sanctions on an elite Saudi unit.
An old report making new headlines. It was originally suppressed by the Trump administration, but 3 years later, it's declassified. Its conclusion clear for the world to see. US intelligence says it's likely that Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman ordered the capture or killing of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi. But the Pentagon is pulling no punches.
Saudi Arabia remains a strategic partner in the region. We have to be courageous enough as friends to speak candidly and to make clear our concerns about the rule of law and about civil and human rights, even with friends and partners.
The report doesn't detail any new evidence, but stresses the Crown Prince's control on decision-making. He has always denied knowing about the plot. Khashoggi was lured to the Saudi consulate in Turkey. There he was killed and dismembered by a hit team sent from Riyadh. The Saudi government eventually admitted killing Khashoggi, but blamed it on a rogue security team. The public naming of Mohammed bin Salman as complicit in the killing will set a new tone for the relationship between Washington and Riyadh. The Biden administration has imposed sanctions on dozens of Saudi officials, but stopped short of targeting the prince.
Well, let's bring in DW correspondent Oliver Salet, who's in Washington. Hi, Oliver. President Joe Biden chose not to suppress this highly critical report on a US strategic ally. What does that tell us about his administration's stance on Saudi Arabia and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman?
Pablo, it's important to point that out, that the report is not new. It was actually already finished quite some time ago and then withheld by the Trump administration. Congress at the time ordered this report to be published, but Trump ignored that ruling by Congress. He had a very friendly position towards Saudi Arabia. Here, in particular, looking at the arms sales, the United States is exporting arms to Saudi Arabia. Joe Biden wants to review this relationship and other relationships between the United States and other countries in the Middle East. So Saudi Arabia is one of the U.S.'s closest allies, and that the Biden administration is now accusing the Saudi Crown Prince of murder of a Washington Post journalist, Jamal Khashoggi. That will certainly have big implications for their relationship.
Well, Oliver, you mentioned that the relationship, of course, they've announced that they're recalibrating it with Saudi Arabia, and also they've announced sanctions. Now, the Pentagon says the kingdom remains a strategic partner, though. Now, do we know what all of this means going forward?
Well, certainly, as you pointed out, Saudi Arabia is one of the closest allies of the United States in the region, so it's very important for the U.S. to maintain that partnership. They need Saudi Arabia for their policies in the region. Just look at Iran, where President Biden wants to re-enter the nuclear deal. So that's one of the adversaries, of course, there in that Middle East region. And that is also one of the reasons why Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has not been targeted directly by sanctions.
Now, it's a big change from the Trump administration. Is this a precursor for other shifts in US foreign policy under President Biden?
Well, President Biden made that very clear. One of the quotes he's said very often in recent days and weeks is that diplomacy is back. He always keeps saying America is back, diplomacy is back. So we'll certainly see a different style here in foreign policy. But as I pointed out, Trump was very close with Saudi Arabia. looking at arms and arm deals. So Joe Biden will review that. He will take a tougher stance on Saudi Arabia. He also said that he will look into the arms sales and perhaps cut that down. Biden wants to rejoin the nuclear deal. That was a position that is really contrasting with President Biden. He almost launched airstrikes on Iran. So you see a more moderate shift here in Middle East policy under President Biden.
Oliver Stoddard in Washington. Good to see you, and thanks.